Three candidates, one seat, two shades of far right. Poland's election has Europe on edge. After 8 years of hardline nationalist rule, the PIS party has set the tone. Anti-abortion, anti-Brussels and anti-immigration. A legacy that lingers in a divided country. But is history set to repeat, or will the country swipe left on the far right? This weekly we're asking, what does Poland's election mean for Europe? 29 million Poles are getting ready to vote for their next president. We'll know who wins on June the 1st. Why does it matter? Because Poland is at a crossroads between two futures, liberalism and nationalism. On one side, Prime Minister Donald Tusk. Tusk is a liberal, pro-Europe kind of guy, leading a shaky coalition in parliament, including everything from the left to the centre-right. His mission? Unwind years of nationalist rule under the PIS, his main rivals. But here's the catch, the nationalists still hold the presidency. Andrzej Duda's in the driver's seat. His powers? Limited, but don't be fooled, he's got veto power. That means he can stall any big reforms. So yeah, we're looking at a classical political standoff between the government and president. Get your helmets ready because Poland's going to culture war. Let's meet the key players in this election. Leading the polls, Warsaw's mayor, Rafał Trzaskowski. He's running for the Liberal Conservative Civic Platform, the party of Prime Minister Tusk.
A ja mam bardzo mocny mandat i bardzo dużo energii i determinacji i odwagi do tego, żeby wygrać z PiS-em.
Trzaskowski advocates a pro-European course. He also supports easing the country's abortion ban and expanding LGBTQ rights. With these issues, he primarily appeals to progressive-minded Poles.
Też poniekąd już trochę dosyć tego, że na pierwszym filarze jest jakaś dana religia. Unia Europejska to jest dla nas najlepsze, co spotkało nasz kraj.
But not all Poles see things the same way. According to polls, around 25% are backing Karol Nawrocki, the candidate put forward by the National Conservative Law and Justice Party. His main campaign topic? Migration. In his campaign videos, the historian warns of illegal immigrants overrunning Poland. His political inspiration is likely his buddy Donald Trump, whom he visited in early May. Nawrocki's mottos include no to the EU and Poland first.
I rozumiem, że Polska, żeby mogła być, to musi być wielka, bo trzeba bronić Polski, trzeba bronić naszych wartości.
Migration is also the key issue for the third main candidate, Sławomir Menton, representing the far-right Confederation Liberty and Independence. Polls put him at around 15%. He has labelled Ukrainian refugees as ungrateful and wants to halt immigration altogether.
Nie pozwolę na masowe migracje, na prezydenta, który będzie dbał przede wszystkim o polskie interesy, a nie zagraniczne. Jak zostanę prezydentem, to oni wszyscy, Niemcy, Ukraińcy, w Polsce będą się dopasowywali do polskiego prawa, polskich interesów, polskiej kultury i do polskiego języka. 15 maja i możecie wziąć udział w wyborach.
A rhetoric that also resonates with Menton's more than 1.5 million followers on TikTok. He hits a nerve with many young people in particular.
To, co mnie przede wszystkim przyciąga, to bycie, powiedzmy, w kontrze do pewnego duopolu, który od lat rządzi krajem. Tak? Mówię o duopolu dwóch głównych partii, PO i PiS-u, które rządziły tym krajem już przez bardzo wiele lat.
Menton's chance of making it in the runoff is slim, but his voters could become kingmakers in the second round, most likely a contest between Trzaskowski and Nawrocki. The far right's already won one battle, getting their ideas out there, and we've seen it. The big topic of this presidential race? Immigration. Fake news is flooding Poland's news feeds. Case in point, this video got shared by a PIS politician claiming Krakow was flooded with hundreds of migrants. But here's the twist. These aren't migrants, they're just tourists. The footage? It was captured by an NGO calling out the endless parade of rolling suitcases. And this is just one of many fake news stories fueling the fire in this campaign. This isn't the only disinformation flying around. Nationalist and far-right parties are playing on fear. Because let's face it, Poland's changed a lot in the last 20 years. Poland has been a member of the European Union for almost 21 years, since May 1st, 2004. It joined the Schengen area in 2007. However, Poland is not part of the Eurozone. The national currency remains the zloty. Poland's economy has grown significantly in the 3 decades since the end of communism. Between 1990 and 2020, income per capita in terms of purchasing power has tripled. This boom was also fueled by EU funding after Poland joined, but there was a downside. After 2004, around 2 million people, mostly young Poles, left the country to work abroad. Since then, the population has declined. Currently, unemployment in Poland is very low. In fact, in February, Poland recorded the lowest unemployment rate in the entire EU. Inflation, on the other hand, has been considerably higher than the EU average for some time, leading to rising everyday costs, which are hitting low-income households especially hard. Poland's richer, but not necessarily more equal. In fact, there's a real divide cutting the country in half. To get it, just look at the results from last year's local elections in April 2024. In the West, Poland's thriving thanks to EU integration, and voters went for Liberal candidates close to Prime Minister Donald Tusk. In the East, though, a different Poland, more struggling, voting big time for the PIS nationalists who support President Duda. It's a split that's going to impact this election too. We spoke to Lionel Julien, our special correspondent on the ground, ahead of the presidential vote.
Les Polonais savent très bien ce qu'ils doivent à l'Europe. On le voit aujourd'hui, les chiffres de la croissance en 2024 c'était 2,9%. Cette année, on attend 3,5% de croissance en Pologne, ce qui est énorme. Et en plus, la Pologne se réindustrialise. Donc, les Polonais sont tout à fait conscients de ça. Et surtout depuis le retour de Donald Tusk au pouvoir après les années PiS, le déblocage des fonds européens qui s'est élevé à 139 milliards d'euros. Donc voilà. Après, s'il y a des frictions, elles se font plutôt sur les valeurs et sur le clivage, j'allais dire traditionnel, entre libéraux et conservateurs, entre progressistes et nationalistes. Mais il n'y a pas vraiment de clivage anti- et pro-européen. Et encore une fois, il y a cette histoire de menace russe qui permet de souder, qui crée une sorte d'unité nationale. On voit très bien aussi que le centre de gravité de l'Union européenne est en train de se déplacer plus à l'est, c'est-à-dire en Pologne. Et la Pologne joue un rôle important.
And yes, as expected, the war in Ukraine is the other major issue dominating this presidential election because Poland finds itself on the front lines of the crises and threats facing Europe. The war in Ukraine feels close to home for many in Poland. The country shares a border of over 500 kilometers with Ukraine. According to official figures, nearly 1 million Ukrainian refugees still live in Poland. Poland also borders Belarus and the Russian enclave of Kaliningrad, a heavily militarized region where Russia has stationed, among other things, fighter jets, missile systems, and an estimated 25,000 troops. Fearing a potential Russian attack, Poland is now spending a larger share of its GDP on defense than any other NATO member, 4.2% of the GDP in 2024. Perhaps to the point of becoming the largest army in Europe, this is at least Warsaw's goal, which aims to reach 300,000 soldiers by 2035, and its army already has more personnel than the French or German armies. Poland, which has long relied on the United States for its security, is deeply destabilized by Donald Trump's positions. The US president wants to disengage from the old continent. This context taps into nationalist sentiment in this election and brings high expectations from European countries, according to our special correspondent.
Donald Tusk l'a dit à plusieurs reprises, il souhaite, lui, l'autre Donald, de quelque part, finalement, il veut une Europe forte, il l'a dit à plusieurs fois, dans plusieurs tweets, il l'a dit, d'une part qu'on était dans une guerre d'avant-guerre et qu'il fallait qu'on arrête de compter sur l'Amérique et qu'on prenne, nous, Européens, notre destin en main. Ce qui est étonnant, c'est qu'on assiste peut-être à un décalage, ou en tout cas une réeuropéanisation du débat en Pologne, mais dans les discours, mais je pense que c'est comme de partout en Europe, on assiste à une sorte de trumpisation du discours, Tusk le dit aussi, une sorte de « make Poland great again ». Il faut que la Pologne soit forte, il faut et compter sur nous-mêmes, quoi. Du côté de Bruxelles, on attend que Donald Tusk puisse parachever son retour et la normalisation, le retour à la normale en Pologne, d'autant que la Pologne en ce moment exerce la présidence tournante de l'Union européenne, donc ça c'est important pour Bruxelles. Mais vous savez, tout ça est tellement fragile et on n'a pas non plus envie de s'ingérer trop avant dans cette histoire. On sait évidemment que l'élection d'un président favorable, en tout cas pro-européen, comme les Rafał Trzaskowski, soutenu par Donald Tusk, sera une bonne chose. Ce d'autant que ça va revitaliser aussi un axe Paris-Berlin-Varsovie.
An axis that's already heating up. Case in point, one of the newly elected German Chancellor Friedrich Merz's first overseas trips? Warsaw, not Brussels, not Washington, Warsaw. And across the borderless map of military alliances, France, despite not sharing a single centimetre with Poland, is cozying up fast. Cue the Nancy Treaty. The stakes are high, the players are old, the alliances shifting. Better keep your eyes fixed and watch the throne. We'll be watching, you should too. Catch you next time, and especially if you're joining us from Poland, na Rece do Tsoba.